Angie from Canterbury Trails Farm. Today I'm going to show you how to cook a roast turkey and stuffing. There are a gazillion ways to do this. I know everybody has their family's tried and true method. Some people brine it, some people don't, some people marinate it, some people don't. Some people deep fry them, some people roast them. There are a lot of different ways to do it. There's a lot of different stuffing recipes too. In the South you have dressing, which is cooked outside of the bird. I prefer stuffing, which is cooked inside the bird. That's what I'll be doing. I'll be using, I save my bread ends and leftover bread and I freeze it. And then when it's time to make stuffing, I'm going to, I rip it up and I put it in a bowl. So I have this great big stainless steel bowl that I'm going to be filling up with the shredded bread. And I have a 15-pound turkey I'm going to be cooking today. And how I start is I shred the bread up. I'm going to chop up one onion. I'm going to put in one stick of butter. And I usually use parsley, seasoning salt. I don't really have measurements for this, except for the one stick of butter and the one onion. I use enough bread to fill the turkey up, and then I just liberally sprinkle it with the parsley and the seasoning salt, and I smush it all up with the stick of butter, which is softening, and then I cram it all in the bird. It used to be in turkeys that you had to actually sew them up and truss them and pull it like a little corset. But nowadays, almost every turkey you buy has the little built-in plastic thing that will hold the feet together that we'll look at in a minute. So you don't really have to sew it up anymore. So we'll be looking at that in a minute, and I'm going to get started on my for my stuffing and chop my onion. Okay, I have softened my butter, and I'm going to add that in with the bread and the onion. And I'm just going to give it a good sprinkling of parsley. Like I said, I don't really have any real measurements. I just sort of wing this every time here. Salt, and I do have another video on making seasoning salt. And I'm just going to mix all this together. All mixed up. Okay, I got this turkey out, and this is a 15-pounder. And contrary to what I said before, this turkey does not have the plastic thing in it. It has like a flap of skin and tissue that have been sort of cut in a way that they form a natural barrier, so you don't have that plastic. So that's good, because I don't generally like the plastic. I like the metal ones better, but this is great. A lot of people, and I'm always amazed at how many cooks are very sort of intimidated by cooking turkeys. Think of cooking turkey as cooking a great big chicken. So it's not really intimidating. It's never been intimidating to me. To begin with, I'm going to put the stuffing into the turkey. I don't like to put it in the head cavity where the neck is. I don't like to do that because I add water to my pan to keep. If you put water in your pan, first of all, you have more water and drippings to make gravy with, and second of all, as the juices evaporate in the oven while it cooks, it's that water that gets evaporated, and the turkey stays moist because the steam is circulating around it. I have a covered roasting pan, which I'll be putting the cover on, so it keeps it nice and moist. Okay, I'm going to put my gloves back on, and we're just going to, I like to squish it into clumps here. I'm just going to stuff it in. Okay, what I do in my cavity begins to fill up, I slide my fingers in here between the spare skin, and I sort of pop that membrane that's hooking the skin to the meat, and I'm just going to shove the stuffing up in there. It just sort of makes an extra place to put your stuffing. Bit of fat and skin they have, and shove the knuckles underneath, and it's going to hold it closed. There we go. Not sure if I like that as much as the metal or plastic closures. Okay, so it's pretty stuffed there. And like I said, you can put it in this back, the neck cavity if you'd like. I'm just not going to. Okay, now, the next thing I do is I use just maple syrup. You can use honey if you want to. I like the maple syrup. And I just pour it over the top. And now I'm going to take my seasoning salt. The liberal coating. I'm going to let that some of that settle. Now I'm just going to fill up my roasting pan. About two inches with water here. And some more seasoning salt now that some of it is sort of... Okay. And the seasoning salt, I think, helps give it a really crisp, very well seasoned. Put my roasting pan cover on, and mine has a vent, so I'm just going to vent it. Oven. And it is going to go in, because it's a 15-pound turkey, so it's going to be approximately in there for 4 to 5 hours. A lot of people cook their turkey at 325. I cook my turkey at 350. I don't know if it's because I started doing that because my stove was off or something. I don't know, but I've always done it at 350. So you may do it at 325 if you prefer. That's what usually the instructions, if you ever look at anywhere to cook a turkey, it'll say 325. I always do mine at 350. It'll be about 4 hours. When at 4 hours, I'll go in there and I'll take the top off and just let it cook. Probably, you know, at that point I'll judge by the meat, and I'll leave. If it's almost done, looks like about 20 minutes out, I'll just leave the top off so it can get nice and crisp. And I'll start taking out the pan drippings to make gravy with. I'm going to let that cook for 4 hours, and we'll be back to look at the finished product. Okay, we've got the turkey out of the oven, and I'm going to take the stuffing out. And it looks really good. I've already taken some of the drippings out of it and put them in a pan to start making gravy out of. And it looks really good. And part of the skin is missing on this leg over here because it got stuck on the pan. But I'm going to start getting dinner ready. So I hope you, if you chance to try this out. And I hope it will seem easier for you now that you've seen it done without all the hoopla with the brining and all that stuff. It really doesn't change the flavor. I've been doing this turkey the same way since I was 22 years old. I'm almost 50 now, and never had a complaint about my turkey. Give it a try, and thank you for joining us today at Canterbury Trails Farm. Bye.